Hi everyone, and welcome to beautiful Bali. We've been here for several weeks now, and I must say, the longer I stay here, the more I really appreciate what the magic of this place can do. We're just outside of Ubud, and whilst it's extremely busy here, I think people get a little bit shocked when they come here how busy it is. When you step beyond the road, there's an absolutely beautiful sensation that there's some kind of magic here. I was working in the last corporate job for 7 years, and I really needed, once I stepped away from that, I was drawn to come back here, to spend some time and just heal. I've been doing copious amounts of yoga, meditation, walking, as I call it here, jalan, eating good food, getting rest, and just basically repairing and talking through what it's like to work in a corporate job and step away from it. But that's not what this is about today. This is about the beautiful practice of Yin Yoga and what it can do for you. I've been practicing Yin for many years now, and I remember my first instructor, Claire, beautiful woman, and she used to say to me, I'd go in very hard because I was used to that sort of a little bit harder yoga, we would call it, more of a yang yoga. And she used to go, you know, Gary, props are good. And I'd think, yeah, right, Claire. I'm sure they're good, but I don't want any. So don't listen to me from those many years ago. What I'd like you to do is grab as many blocks as you can. Yeah, if you've got blocks, great. Bolsters, cushions. Because this is a practice of really supporting yourself as you go into the poses. So I've been running 3 of these. This is the 3rd one, the final one in the series or the sessions of Yin Yoga from Bali. And I've even got a little plant growing in my my mind right now to think, oh, maybe I'll do another 3 the next time I'm here. So it's a never-ending thing. But I really wanted to share this beautiful practice with this place because I think Yin really works in Ubud, and it's such a beautiful practice, and there's so many good teachers here. Let me tell you, I did a Yin class last night that just was just beautiful. Sun had set, and just moving from posture to posture was just beautiful, except for those pesky little mosquitoes, I've got to say. Not anyone's favourite. But anyway, comfortable seated position. Once you've got all your cushions, pause the video if you need to, and then we'll get into the practice. So today's practice is about a kidney release. Now, kidneys are very important meridian in the body, and we're going to be doing lots of forward folds. We're going to do some rebounds. If you don't know what they are, you'll find out as we go through the practice. And we're just basically squeezing and compressing the kidney area, and also the urinary bladder line, which runs up the back line of your body. And that's how we'll go through the practice. So with that said, comfortable seated position, which I've said, give yourself a bit of a wiggle just to allow yourself to land. Gently close the eyes. And as you close the eyes, just one more thing for me before I start through the breathing. Bali's a construction site, so there's going to be saws and hammers and a lot of stuff going on. It's just how it is, so you may hear that in the video. So as you allow yourself to land, just connect with your breath and just check in to see where it's at today. It's interesting how the energy of the breath shifts through the day. Sometimes it can be quite relaxed. Other times it's really kind of harsh and a bit short and sharp. But just notice that. And then there's an invitation now to breathe in a little bit deeper. So inhaling in through the nose, just filling the lower parts of the lungs up so the belly will expand. That goes right up to the top of your lungs, to the thoracic. And then just exhaling out again. And carry on with those really deep breaths. In through the nose. Belly expands, upper chest. And a nice big open sigh. And again. Once more. So coming back to the natural breath. And now using the exhale just to soften all parts of your body. So it might not happen in one exhalation, but just imagine inhaling in really deeply and actually exhale the head, the jaw, the cheeks, even the eyelashes start to relax. Breathing in again and then out. Then the neck and the shoulders roll away from the ears. Chest is relaxing. Inhaling in. Exhaling out. Belly starts to relax. Pelvic area, legs and toes. Breathing in. And just notice the whole body relaxing. Letting go. And again. Coming back to the natural breath. Just focusing on the breath again. So the invitation today is to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, or in through the nose, and doing nice big sighs. Traditional yoga, we usually breathe out through the nose. So whatever resonates with you, you'll hear me mentioning big sighs. And you can try that, or you can just say, nope, I'm going to stick with inhaling, exhaling out through the nose. There's always options in yin. So bringing your hands into Anjali, which is offering mudra. That's if that resonates with you. And we're going to open up the class with a traditional Om. They say that's the first sound that was made when basically the whole universe was created. And there's a lot of other meanings for Om as well, but I won't go into those today. So we'll go right into the Om, inhaling in through the nose. And letting that go, coming back to the natural breath. Gently open your eyes. All right, as said, we're going to move into focus on the kidney meridian. So the kidney meridian line starts right at the point in the foot, and I'm going to show you this. Hopefully you'll be able to see. If you squeeze your foot in, your toes, you'll see a little dent there at the base of the foot. This is called K1, bubbling spring is the English word for it. Don't ask me where they get these names from, not quite sure. But I think, I have a feeling it's for English speaking people, right? Just to, just so that, so they're familiar with the, get familiar with the actual meridian points. Sorry, there's a big wind coming on here. Another thing that Bali quite surprisingly does. So what I'd like you to do is spread your feet apart, and you can come into this straight like I was showing you. So find K1, which is at that point. Squeeze the toes in, and you'll find it right in the middle, at the middle of that squeezed point. So I like to use the thumbs here, and we're going to compress K1 in. Now the interesting thing about this meridian point is that it's the only one that I know is that on the base of your foot. And also, it's a really great place to, it helps you ground when you put pressure on it. And it's really good to get rid of anxiety, helps with sleep, and a bunch of other stuff too. It's a really interesting thing. A lot of the meridian points do help with similar things. But overall, the urinary bladder is where where fear is housed. And it's where, obviously, where water is as well. So today, as I said before, we're going to do lots of forward folds. So with this meridian point, just gently squeeze it with your thumbs. And then you'll say, and this will help obviously release the anxiety or anything that's going on. You might say, well, Gary, I don't feel any of that. And that's fine. If you're compressing these points here, it's not going to hurt anything. If your chi is actually flowing well through the meridian lines, then it's going to be perfectly fine. So it's not going to have an adverse effect on you. If it feels a little bit painful when you're actually doing the little pulses into that point, that's perfectly normal. If you don't feel anything, cool as well. So normally we would hold this up to, can be 3 minutes, but we won't be doing that today. But you can also hold it to actually feel or pulse on it until you feel like you have to take a deep breath. And when you take a deep breath, that's a cue to come out. So pulsing again a little bit more. And then just letting it go. Coming back to center. And see if you notice there might be a bit of a flow of blood. There was with me just then. It's really interesting. I could feel it coming up the legs. But if you don't feel anything, cool as well. Right, from there, moving into, going to remove my prop off the floor. As said, cosmic egg. Those of you who know it, just come into it. This is a beautiful practice. Heels are close to the groin, wrapping the arms around you. You can have your feet just off the ground if that's light. And then if it's within your practice, just gently bowing forward. And just checking with how you feel, and maybe just focus on those points on K1, bubbling spring. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. And in and out. Once more. All right. Gentle sigh. And we're going to move into a practice that some of you may not have done before. I'm just moving my timer out of the way. And it's called cat pulling its tail. Those of you who know this practice, by all means go straight into it. I'll do a little demonstration. As you can see, my knees are bent. And I was supporting my upper body with my bent left elbow. Now from here, there's two ways to get into this posture. You can just put your leg out and then capture your bottom legs and then pulling the cat's tail. Or you can extend both legs back and then you can bring the right leg out. Now this might not be for everybody, so just check your body. This is a posture that works really well with my body, but I do know that some people struggle a bit with this. With the bottom leg, the left leg, just bend that and you can capture it. Now you can stay upright here in cat pulling its tail, or you can float onto the floor. You can stand your arm out. I'm going to move this bottle. And then you can lie down. So what we're doing with the left leg is we're compressing the kidney meridian line, and also the urinary bladder. And this is a good thing. And as you hang out here, just continually focusing on the breath. If you can't hang on to the foot, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to. So you, this isn't taught often, this pose, and I was talking to a teacher recently, and I said, I don't often see you teach that, and she said, well, she says really due to a space. When you're in massive studios with loads of people, putting your leg out like this can be quite difficult, because you'd probably be kicking somebody, and then they wouldn't like you very much after that. But I really like it because there's some other postures that do a similar, but I find them could be quite hard for some people. So it's actually, and there's so many options in Yin, and that's why I love this. It will always meet you in a good place. Last deep inhale. Open mouth sigh. Coming back to center. Unraveling yourself. And we're going to go straight onto the other side. Setting yourself up. I've come straight down this time. Extending the legs out if that's what you'd like to do. Left leg comes out. Capturing the right leg with your left arm. You can lie down and just find that sweet spot. Now, most people will find this quite, I shouldn't say most, a lot of people will find this quite strong, capturing their foot, but some people don't. So what you can do, if you're not getting a lot of feeling that edge, as we call it in Yin Yoga, and an edge is about 75% or a little bit less of where you can go with a shape, you can just move your hand down a little bit further towards the shin, and then you can actually pull that foot and leg closer to your butt or your bum cheek. And I know from my own point of view, I can actually really start to feel that now. A lot of runners will find this quite difficult, and also people who do a lot of riding on bikes. It's not to say that you're not fit, it's just this is quite a different movement to those kind of activities. So interesting thing about the kidney meridian, it's associated obviously with the water element, but it also has a colour to it, and the colour is blue. All right, so we're getting ready to release. So give yourself one last inhalation in your cat pulling its tail, letting yourself go. And with great news, coming onto your back for a rebound. So those of you who haven't done Yin Yoga before, there are quite a lot of rebounds. They're like mini Shavasana. That's probably one of the best ways to describe it. But it is an opportunity when you're in a rebound to check in and with all the sensations that you're feeling in your body. So after those few shapes that we've done with the meridian point and also the compressing of the legs, just check in to see what's coming up for you as far as sensations go. But just don't go with the loud ones too. Go to the ones that aren't so loud. All right, so we're getting ready to transition. So gift yourself one last inhalation in this shape. Bend the knees, exhaling out. And now we're going to come up to a seated position. So how are we going to do that? Bend the knees, heels are close to your bum, lift the hips up, tuck your thumbs under, raise the legs up. So you're in an L shape. And on the count of 3, legs come down and torso comes up. So 1, 2, 3. And we're up. So I'm just going to grab a prop for the next posture. So we're coming into, this is called Dandasana, straight rod pose. There's a few other names for this. It just depends on the tradition that you come from. And then I'm going to hop on a cushion because we're going to come into a forward fold. Actually, I might change cushions because it'll give you a good demonstration. Forward folds are really good in compressing the kidney and urinary bladder meridian lines. But from a bloke's point of view, and this is not all, this is generalising, but most blokes find forward folds a little bit difficult, just because of tight hamstrings. Could be the sports that we've played or still playing. So I like to sit on something, and I always recommend that to most people, or to all people who come to the class. And when we're sitting in this shape, on the edge of a cushion, it's pushing the pelvis forward, and a couple of things happen there. Firstly, it allows you to come into the forward fold a little bit deeper, but also it has the ability, when you sit in this shape with the prop, to lift you a little bit higher up. So that helps. In yoga we would call it prana or chi, but it also helps with breathing. Now from this shape, we grab a cushion. You can put it underneath your knees, but if you've got a bolster, there's another option for this. You can actually put your bolster and dig it, or put it right in towards your belly, and you can just cup your hands and come down like this. Or you can lay your hands on the ground. I find this cushion really, or bolster, quite supportive, and it feels good on anyone. For me, I've got a lower back injury. It's one of the reasons I got into yoga, and I'm feeling very supported with the cushion I'm sitting on, and the bolster, or the mini bolster, to my belly. So get your shape, find that still place, close the eyes, and just connect with your breath. So you don't have to come down too deep with this. If you feel like you like to fold, that's fine. Use the exhalation to come down a bit further. There's a lot of power in the breath, and it really is our life force. And when you think about it, I think it can be taken for granted a lot with the breath, but we don't breathe, we don't live. But you can use it in such a powerful way. And in yoga, we have so many beautiful practices, breathing practices, that really assist with circulating that chi, that energy around the body. And once you've done some of these wonderful practices, and this is included with yin, you may come out feeling just totally renewed. And I can't speak for everybody like that, but one of my favourite practices. So my first yin teacher telling me to use props, well, eventually I did start to use props, as you can see, so she was right. And that's where I really fell in love with the practice. And from then on, you know, it's what happens in most yoga. You find your favourite teachers and you tend to go to them. And I've been lucky and blessed to find some really wonderful teachers in my life. There's definitely a few here in Bali that are just awesome. And one of them teaches the best yin around in my mind. All right, so we're getting ready to come out. Last deep inhale. Open mouth sigh. And then from here, a little bit of a counter pose. Now you can actually have your hands beside you, right behind your hips, just pushing up. That can be really nice to release. Personally, I like to have the hips, the hands a little bit behind, fingers pointing towards the back wall and just arching backwards. I find this very nice after forward folds. And you may feel a rush of water or blood within you, perfectly normal, and that's the aim of this practice with the kidney release. Coming back to center. Going to remove props off to the floor. Going to come into tabletop. Now those of you who have got a blanket on standby, that's great, because we're going to come into one of the least liked postures in yoga. And I know a lot of you going, oh Gary, I didn't sign up for this. But hey, it's always good to have props to help you in these postures. So what I'm doing here is I'm rolling up my blanket or my towel and I'm going to place it underneath the knees. And we're going to come into something that's can for some be quite painful. We're not going to be here for long. And it's called toe squat. Now what I've found with toe squat is there's a couple of techniques that work for me that really help me be able to stay in this longer. So one of them is you can just come into a kneeling position with fingers pointing forward. You can see it tucking the toes under. So I'm still in the toe squat. I'm still achieving what this posture is designed to do, which is to squeeze that K1 meridian point and also the kidney meridian line in general. But what you can also do, if you feel like, oh, this is okay, you can come up a bit higher. I like to have my knees together. If you have them apart, I found that the pain is actually quite full on. So we've already been, if you've been with me, you've already been in for about a minute. We're not going to stay here for too much longer, for about another 10 minutes. No, only another minute. So what you can do is you can place your hands in your lap. Now what I've found with most things that are very uncomfortable, it's about distraction. So you can connect with the breath here and do some really nice deep exhales as we stay in this shape. So inhaling in, open mouth sigh. And again. And again. And then you can just hang out in your sweet spot, which most people don't have in this. Some people really love this, by the way. I have to tell you, I'm not one of them. Not my bag at all, but it's really good. So we've got 10 more seconds to go. Yes, I am watching time. So we'll do one more deep inhale. Open mouth sigh. Yay, coming down. Oh yeah. And then from here, just raising the feet off the floor and the shins. Just give your feet a little bit of a squeeze and back. So not tapping the feet at the moment. And then we're going to come into a posture called ankle stretch. And you're going, what? I thought we're out of this. But no, still into it. This is a lovely practice. Now, some people really like this. Once again, some people don't. Funnily enough, I actually don't mind this practice. So knees are together again. I find this helpful, as I said before. Hands can be beside you and you're lifting, using your hands to lift your knees off the floor. We're only here for a little time, not a long time. So once again, use the breath. Breathe in and out here. Now, some people like to take their hands away and hover. That's not within my practice today. And I think the reason that it works for me in this way is because I used to do a lot of karate back in the days, and we used to sit on floors like this, tiled floors and wooden floors, and I just got used to that whole process of kneeling down in seizo, as they call it, or hero as we call it here. So knees come down, coming up, and with good news, just looking at the ants on the floor. A lot of ants in Bali, by the way, but I'm not a big fan of ant yoga, just letting you know. So I'm just keeping a careful eye on them to make sure they don't interrupt. So knees are out to the side. We're going to come into a wide leg child's pose. Now those of you who need props underneath you, grab the cushions, grab the pillows. So traditionally, the big toes are touching, knees are out to the edges of the mat, and you're sliding the hands forward, and then the forehead may come down to the floor. I won't put it down to the floor with me today. Having a microphone here, it might become a little bit muffled. But you can just have your hands like fist on top of fist as well. So find your shape, find your still place, connect with the breath, and now you're doing yin. Closing the eyes down. Notice all the sensations that are going on in your body. It's interesting with postures because what you like, somebody else doesn't like. It's really, as I said, it actually is really interesting why that's the case. And the reason is that everybody's shape is different. So something that works for me won't work for you, and vice versa. And then you'll get some people who everything just seems to work for them. But then it maybe becomes something else, right? Then it becomes a mind game. Yoga always has something to teach. And I think yin is such a powerful practice because when you go into these shapes and you're holding them for such a long time, there's a lot of processing that can come up. We're targeting meridians and trying to bring balance to those meridians. Sometimes things can be unleashed, not just physically, but also mentally as well. All right, last deep inhale. Then open mouth sigh. So just sliding forward out of your shape. And those of you who know Sphinx pose can come into it. Those of you who don't, I'll give some directions now. So you're lying down on your belly and your elbows are slightly in front of your shoulders. Now, we would say in Hatha Yoga or classical yoga that you'd have the elbows under, but in yin it's a little bit different. So middle two fingers can be pointing forward, although there are so many options here, and I'm going to give you a few of them now. You can have bolsters underneath you if you've got a long bolster to support your body. Some people like to cross their arms underneath, and if you've got back injuries or something going on in your body, this can be very supportive. Some people like to come into crocodile pose, cupping the hands, elbows are on the floor and just resting your head into your hands. They find this quite relaxing. Interesting enough, I think it's a deeper back bend in this. But those of you who want to stay in traditional, fingers forward, hands in prayer, interlaced fingers. I like hands in prayer at the moment. You can have your feet a bit wider apart, and we're here for another several minutes. Just ensuring that you're rolling your shoulders away from your ears so you're not sinking too deep that neck into the neck. You can lower the head down a little bit and move from side to side. Just for several breaths. And then coming to a still place and hanging out for a while. Just keep bringing yourself back to the breath. There's an invitation in every yin class is to do sounds. So nice big sighs or anything that you'd like, just to get rid of that, as we call it in traditional Chinese medicine, they call it perverse qi. So something that feels a bit stuck, you can do a big sigh or some noise. So the element of water is associated with the kidney and the urinary bladder. And the season is winter. And those of you who are in winter at any parts of the world, this is a fabulous practice to do for your qi energy. And what we're trying to do is build up qi here to support you once spring arrives. And that would mean going to bed earlier, sleeping more, eating healthier foods, not being so aggressive perhaps with your activities. And then when spring comes, you're ready to rise. All right, for those of you who want to go a little bit deeper, you can, to come out of Sphinx, we're going to move into a shape called Seal. Now you can try this if you like. If it's not working for you, you can come straight back into Sphinx. So Seal is hands out to the side, like Seal flippers. Now, there's always options, right? If you want something stronger, you can slide your hands in and come up. Bear in mind, we're here for about another minute. So this can be quite strong. For me today, I'm just having it a little bit less strong, and I'm finding this is working for me. I'm still getting exactly the same effort into my body. Still finding that edge. I can feel it, lower back. I can feel it into my stomach as well, into the kidney area. This is really great practice, Sphinx and Seal for the kidney area. And I'm just gently rolling the shoulders away from the ears. It's got about another 30 seconds here. And see if you can use the breath to fill your belly up, and notice it expanding onto the floor. And notice if it has any impacts on your kidneys as you're breathing in and out as well in this strong shape. All right, last deep inhale. Open mouth. So those of you who are still in Seal, coming back into Sphinx pose. And then it's palm on top of palm, forehead on top of palm. Now, the way I was taught, this is called Sphinx pose. I don't think many people use it. Sorry, not Sphinx pose. It's called wisdom pose. But some people call it palm pillow. I quite like wisdom pose though. There's a nice sound to it, and actually presents a lovely picture too. Now there's also a sound associated to the water element, and the sound is chew, CHOOO. And in TCM, not TCM, in TCM, traditional Chinese medicine and Qi Gong, this sound is repeated 5 times. So the invitation is, while you're in the wisdom pose, is to do the sound of chew 5 times. So I'll start with 1. So it's chew. And then your own time, doing 4 more of that beautiful sound for that element. All right, last round of chew. Then coming back to the natural breath. And just have a moment to check in, see how you feel after that beautiful breathing practice. All the elements have a sound. Last deep inhale. Open mouth. Very gently making your way up. We're going to come into a seated position. And the seated position is butterfly. So there are options here. As you probably already know, there's lots of options. So we're looking for this shape in butterfly. If you put your legs out a bit further, that's okay, but the shape we're in is this very traditional shape of butterfly. It's like a diamond shape. But this doesn't work for anybody. You can have your legs out a little bit further if that works better for your body. You can have bolsters some blocks or cushions underneath your knees if your knees are up too high for support. Some people find it really difficult having their feet together, so you can actually have them apart. That's perfectly all right. Now, if you've got a block or a bolster, we're going to come into a forward fold. You can stay upright if you've got some issues with your lower back or it just doesn't feel right. But those of you who want to go a little bit deeper, just lifting and lengthening from your spine, bending from the hip creases. I like to walk my fingers forward here and then just gently coming down into a forward fold. Now I'm not coming down too deep, but after about 2 minutes, and that's about 1.5 minutes away, there's an opportunity to use your breath on the exhalation to come down deeper. What I find is with yin, we are working in with the connective tissues and the fascia. And what happens in time is when we first come into a posture, the muscles are engaged to support the body. But as we stay in the posture, the muscles tend to become a little bit more relaxed, and I can even see it in my own body now. And then there's an opportunity then to use an exhalation to go a little bit deeper. And it always amazes me that from starting a posture, thinking, oh, that's as deep as I can go, I'm not forcing. By the end of the posture, it can be a lot deeper. So there's an opportunity now for the last minute in this shape. If you've got props underneath your head or you want to release those, by all means do so. If you want to continue to stay where you're at, perfectly fine. And just let an exhalation go.
See if you can go that little bit deeper. And at this point, as you're looking down, or if your eyes are closed, you can see where we started the class, at that K1. And think of all the compressions of that line that we've been doing through the class. I really love this kidney meridian class, and actually love using all the acupressure points. But this one, particularly in winter, does really resonate with me, and because it is a winter, it is associated with winter anyway. All right, last deep inhale. Open mouth sigh. Very gently coming up to center. Woo. Yes. Time for a little bit of a counter pose. So placing your hands on your knees and arching backwards, looking towards the ceiling, chin and forehead towards the ceiling, arms are straight, back is a little bit arched. Couple of breaths in and out here. Then coming back to center. And then we're going to move into a shape. We've done this, I think we did this in the previous session. It's called Dragonfly. Now most guys, I know, I shouldn't say guys all the time because that is not true. I know a lot of women who don't like this shape. Dragonfly is a wide leg pose. I highly recommend you sit on something here. A lot of teachers, if you've got lower back, and because I do, I'm very supportive of people who have this. I've lived with this for a long time, and it just takes one little thing and it can actually inflame the back. So you're probably saying, yep, I hear that. And that's with a lot of things. So just be very gentle. This is why yin can be such a wonderful practice. So we're going to come into a lateral bend from the Dragonfly. Last time I think we did a forward fold. But the lateral bend is, if you've got props, it's great because this will really help you. So I like to have my left hand supporting the head and the right hand up. Now what you need to do here is swing that right arm round so it is a lateral bend. I have seen people come like this. Need to get that right elbow up, and then you're looking towards the ceiling ever so gently, closing your eyes. Feet are relaxed, not here for long. So this posture here, as you can probably visualize, is squeezing around the kidney lines, and that's another wonderful thing. Now, if this shape laterally isn't working for you, you can always come into a forward fold from Dragonfly. Do know that you can, if a teacher, yoga teacher, says this is the shape, you don't always have to come into it if you think, oh, that's not working for me. If you have your own practice, you'll know what works and what doesn't. As a student in many yoga classes, I quite often do something for myself. I did a shape recently that just didn't work for me, and I tried it once and I went, oof, I felt a twinge. So the next time, because we were doing it again, I went, I'm not going to do that. So I just moved into something else. All right. Last deep inhale here. Open mouth sigh. Coming back to center. Definitely in need for a counter pose here. Hands are behind. Arching back. Fingers are pointing towards the back wall. And just several breaths here. You might want to wave your feet from side to side too, just to release anything that might be holding
any tension or... Setting up for the other side. This time right arm on right, just above the right knee or plop. Now some people like to come right over. See what works for you. This works for my body shape. Supporting the head with the right hand, left hand's on the other side of the head, and I'm just making sure that elbow, that left elbow is not coming towards the front, just out to the side. Here for a couple of minutes, maybe a little bit more. Right on cue, the guy at the hammer starts. Just keep breathing into those sensations. Connecting with the breath, breathing in through the nose. Nice gentle sighs. All right. Not so long on these sides. So last deep inhale. Open mouth sigh. Back to center. And just grabbing your hands, putting them underneath your knees. Knees are hinge joints, so they're very delicate. You need to protect them a lot. Anybody who's had a knee injury, like a meniscus injury, will know how painful that can be and how debilitating, because it's a connective tissue and it doesn't heal the same way a muscle heals. So we're coming into the second cosmic egg shape. Now I really love this posture, I've got to say, and during the times when we weren't allowed to see each other, it was such a beautiful thing to be able to give yourself a hug. Just see how different it is from the first time that you went into the shape. Funny how things shift. Maybe there's no difference at all, and that's fine. Last deep inhale in your cosmic or universal leg. Open mouth sigh. Usually use the cosmic egg as a transition posture, but you can stay in it for a lot longer if that's what works for you. Good news is, yay, back into a rebound. I might not stay too long in the rebound myself, a bit concerned about the microphone. So a couple of breaths in and out here. Checking of those sensations again. And just checking to see how you feel overall, getting towards the end of the practice. All right, so bending the knees. Knees are out to the edges of the mat. I'm just going to do some windscreen wipers from side to side. Coming back to center. Those of you who know Happy Baby, there's many different versions of this. You can grab the inside or the outsides of your foot. And just coming up into Happy Baby, not here for long. This is also called stirrup pose in Yin Yoga. All right, so when you're ready,
No rush. Just bringing the legs back down and coming into the final pose, which is Shavasana. So get yourself all set up. You might want to have something underneath your knees. If you're in a cold climate, you may want to grab yourself a blanket and just put that over you. I'm just coming into a seated position. And I'm very gently going to fade my voice out. And you can just allow yourself to land. Just let gravity take you. And then a deep inhale together. And an open mouth sigh. And just let everything settle. All right. So those of you who'd like to stay a little bit longer in Shavasana, by all means do so. But those of you who are wanting to end the practice, just gently bringing some small movements to your toes and fingers. Taking a deeper than normal breath here. Open mouth sigh. And then bringing the knees up to the chest. And doing some small rotations just to release the back. You might like to do a nice big yawn. And then when you're ready, just rolling over onto your preferred side and just ensuring that you support your head with your arm and have a moment here. And then when you're ready, just gently making your way up into a seated position, just keeping your eyes closed or downcast, bringing your hands into Anjali, an offering mudra, if that works for you. And we'll close the class out with one Om. And we'll go to that right now. So inhaling in. And bowing forehead to fingertips. And just acknowledging yourself today for practicing. acknowledging the people in your life that support you, acknowledging the yoga teachers of the past, the present and the future who have taught these beautiful practices. And of course, acknowledging the greatest teacher of all, which is your internal self, as we say, Namaste. And just very gently open your eyes. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that. I've really enjoyed teaching these series of 3 sessions from Bali. It's always been a dream of mine to do this, and I feel so grateful to have the opportunity to be in this place and to film this. It's not where the journey ends. There's a lot more going on, and I'll let you know in the future what that is. But until then, enjoy the rest of the week, or wherever you're at. Put joy forward. And I will see you on the back on the mat soon. Bye for now.